good evening, and welcome to THFC Till I Die, your home of Tottenham from past to present, and Lord Jesus, Mary and Joseph and the wee donkey. Haven't Spurs hit an iceberg? We're like the Titanic. We're now sinking faster than that sank. And is Conte going to be another one who bites the dust? Sorry, couldn't. I had to get the Queen reference in there. If you didn't know, it was the only one I could think of. But anyway, join me on this stream. We're going to go over the Conte comments from last night. Me and Philip disagree on some of this, which is very unusual for me and Philip, because normally we're on the same page, but we are slightly disagreeing on this. Paul, I don't think Paul gives an Aussie, how do you do? He just wants Bill Nicholson and Keith Burkitt back at the club again.
If only, man.
And from Mia in the chat, who's looking after the chat for us, so everyone behave in the chat, because Mia will time you out if you misbehave. So anyway, let's welcome the guests in. Philip, how are you, sir? How was your Sunday? And oh Lord Jesus, where do we go from here?
I said, you mentioned the Titanic. I wore my Titanic T-shirt tonight. Titanic sank on the 12th of April, 1912. Tottenham Hotspur sank on March the 18th, 2023, as far as I can see. And that's the only sort of simile I can think of to compare the club to another natural disaster. Anyway, apart from that, Sunday night, things are starting to settle down a wee bit now, but we're in a bad position at the moment. We're in a bad position at the moment.
We are. And Paul, look, Conte, a lot of fans are saying Conte is right to say what he's saying. A lot of fans saying get Conte out now. A lot of fans saying that's it. We don't want him here. Where do you stand in all of this? And firstly, how are you on this probably lovely Australian warm summer morning?
Monday morning, no?
Well, it's Monday morning and it's a bit drizzly and drab at the moment. But like after the Sheffield United game, I wanted Conte out, and then a couple of more dodgy performances, and I was just sick of the style of football. But after that press conference, I want him around. I loved what he said. I thought it was great that he said it in public. I thought he nailed all the problems with the club, and good on him, I reckon, because these players and the board and the club need a huge kick up the arse. I'm sure he said it all in private. It hasn't worked, and extreme times call for extreme measures, and the club is just in a shit state at the moment. So good on him.
Fair enough, right? We will welcome people into the chat. Then we will bring up his press conference. And we're going to go through the press conference bit by bit and get thoughts of the lads. Get your thoughts in the chat too, please. Like and subscribe. You can pick up channel memberships as well. They're only $2.99 and $4.99. Cheaper than getting Amazon Prime and Netflix. You get more for your money with us than you would with Netflix and Amazon Prime. Believe me. Then what do you get with them? You get Jeremy Clarkson Farm. What do you get with us? You got the Godfather. Speak facts. So there you go. So that's why you get more for your money. And also a super chat. If you want to get ahead of the chat, do put it here. It does help the channel grow. It does help us. And anyone says it doesn't help them grow is lying. We're all here. We can't do this without you. And the support you give us does help us grow. So, it is appreciated. But if you can't afford it, don't worry. Put your questions in. We will bring them up as well. And we will bring up your comments as we always do. And we will go through them. So I know it's tough out there. If you can, great. If you can't, we always will bring your comments up. Firstly, we've got Adrian Sockering. Good evening, Adrian. Good evening, Spurs diehards. Big, I like that. We've got Mia, who's looking after the chat for us tonight. Howdy. G'day. See? Do you like that, Paul? G'day.
G'day.
Yeah, g'day. Yeah, and she's not called Mia. She's called Mary O'Callaghan now, so she should change her name. Wayne Bonner, good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Looking forward to this one. Should be fun. I think he sent a little smiley face for gritted teeth there. Fair play for Conte for saying what should have been said a long, long time ago. Yeah, should have been. We've got John Nails. Big up, John Nails. He says Conte has pushed the big red button on himself. Jeezy, yeah. He has sent the nuclear button. All right. Carl Simpson. Good evening, gents. Good evening, Carl. Wayne said, never a dull moment at Spurs, but hey ho, the show must go on. Another Queen song. That's 2 now. How many Queen songs can we get in tonight connected with Conte and Spurs?
I want to break 3. That's another one I think we can bring in.
I think that's Harry Kane's song, isn't it? We've got Swim Master in. Big up Swim Master. I've been waiting for a Conte to say something along the lines of what he said. Needed to be said. I still think he'll stay at the end of the season as top 4 is still possible, but after that he'll go. Interesting. Levy and Enoch have been called out at long last. Now, what do the happy clappers have to say now? Probably clapping. There you go. Big up John Fitzpatrick, my Irish brother. Big up, sir. Who else we got in here? We got David Clark who's saying g'day from Leicester. And we've got Coys in. Big up, guys. Conte out, Levy out. Big up. Wayne saying this volcano was already erupted, and boy, did it yesterday. It did. We've got another one. I have a stepsister from Queensland. Go. All right. Big up, sir. Antonio Conte's song, Don't Stop Me Now. I like that. That's a good one. And with Conte, he wants it all, but also he wants to break through.
Yeah.
And good evening. And we've got Daniela. Big up, Daniela. Good evening, Phil, Dermot, and Paul. Spurs is making me very tired, very sleepy, but we'll keep you awake. We will keep you awake. Don't worry about that. And Wayne says, I thought that outburst at the conference was a That's a good one. I like that. Wayne, you're on the money. You're on the money. Whoever gets the best Spurs stroke Queen song gets quote of the night. We are running a poll in the chat, and it is, will Conte be here for the first game after the international break? 44% say, no, it's actually 50-50 now. So 50% say yes, 50% say no. I'm going with no. He won't be here after the first game, after the international break, because of what somebody's told me, so which I will share with you. So let me get that up on my phone. I will share. This was given to me early this morning. So give me 2 minutes now. I'll just get it up on my phone. Where is it now? I should share these with you, Philip. It'd be easier just to share them with you, and then you can read them out because you're more organized than me. Okay, so let me hang on. Let me quit. I'm sure this person doesn't mind me.
Send it over to me. I'll do it if you want.
I will. I've got it here now. Conte hasn't been sacked. Hang on. My phone's decided to do it. Well, it knows you loves. Conte hasn't been sacked as of today. Daniel wants one of 3 managers he has been speaking to be ready to take the position right away. I will keep an eye on events happening in the next few weeks. So that is, that Conte could still be gone. We've got Ben Kaufman in. Big up, Ben. Did I miss anything with Tottenham? Was on a mountain doing anything yet? No, you didn't really.
If I was you, I'd go back up there in the next couple of weeks.
You haven't really missed anything, Ben. You didn't miss a damn thing. Just Tottenham drawing 3-0 with Southampton and Conte just having a massive hissy fit. But apart from that, just a normal day supporting Tottenham. We got, unfortunately, Swim Master. Unfortunately, I think Conte will go, but then the whole manager out, new manager in starts once again. I only think he will stay as Levy wants top 4. Sanking Conte now would be a risk. Right, guys. Shall we crack into this?
Just before, can I just respond to that one there? My view on the top 4 is this, right? If first of all, can I just say what Conte said yesterday? Every word he spoke was absolutely correct in every aspect of it, right? But he should not have hung out his dirty washing in public. That's why I have an issue with it. And my issue with that is that the players now are expected to work for a manager who's literally throwing them under the bus. And that means Daniel Levy's got a decision to make. Do you keep Conte and risk having an alienated squad playing under the same manager? Or do you bring in a new manager, whoever he is, and get the new manager bounce that might get us in the top 4? Because as far as I'm concerned, top 4 now is dead as a dodo under Conte because of what he said yesterday, even though he was dead right in what he said. So it's kind of counterproductive what he said, and if you get my drift,
Well, this broke a little while ago. And it's actually from Sky Sports, Philip's favourite TV channel, which he watches religiously every day. So he tells me. Antonio Conte's outburst, Tottenham boss tells board his fury was for players. Now, I've seen a few people saying that Conte is now, about time manager spoke out against Levy and he's done this. But apparently he's backtracked and said to the board, no, it wasn't at you. It was at the players. That's all it was about. So make of that.
It was at the whole club.
Yeah, well, make of that what you will. So anyway, we have his conference here. So we're going to go through it bit by bit. We're going to get the Gads. Look, Paul's so shocked by that statement. He's passed out. We start with this. A tough penalty decision to take, but 3-1 up with 50 minutes to go. Should your team be drawing that match? Now, this is Conte's response. If we're going to discuss the penalty, it means we don't want to see other situations. For the penalty, for me, it was not a penalty, and it wasn't a penalty. Let's be clear on that. It was nowhere near a penalty. I stop. We close the situation. The worst situation is what was happening on the pitch. What has been happening in the last few months? What is happening in my second season? I think it is right moment to speak because I think after that, this performance for me, this is unacceptable. We are winning 3-1 in control of the game. And you are able to concede 2 goals and to risk because also Fraser made a fantastic save in one situation. I think it's much better to go into the problem because the problem is that for another time we showed that we are not a team. We are 11 players that go onto the pitch. I see selfish players. I see players that don't want to help each other, don't put their heart before today. I prefer to hide this situation and try to speak and try to improve the spirit, the situation with the words, with lots of situations, because about tactical or technical aspects, this is one situation. The most important thing, if you want to become a strong team, if you want to become competitive, if you want to fight to win, is the desire, the fire that you need to have in your eyes, in your heart. And you have to show that in this every moment. Right, I'm trying to just do a Conte, but it ain't working. All right. If I have to compare last season,
start discussing them and don't do it all. Just do a bit.
Okay. All right. Well, discuss that one.
There's enough in there to get going on eventually. Yeah. Okay. As I said, I agree everything he says there. But the bit that worries me a little bit, and this is where I think the players are going to have an issue with him. Now, there's already rumours that a few players are not happy with him for training methods, for not having a schedule to come to training until they actually turn up in the morning, things like that, which are in-house things that can be dealt with, no problem. But when he said there, I see selfish players. I see players that don't want to help each other and don't put their hearts into the team. Right? He's damn lucky there's an international break coming up now. If those players were coming into him tomorrow morning, I'd say someone to give him a Glasgow handshake, because I just feel he's alienating the players. He needs to keep on his side, and this is what I'm actually quite surprised Daniel Levy hasn't acted already. And it's strange to say that a guy can speak the truth and get sacked for it, but that is the way this thing's panning out. Because by speaking the truth, he has now thrown a hand grenade into the entire organization. And I would love to see what team turns up for our next match if Conte is still in charge.
But Paul, before I give my thoughts, what are your thoughts on that first bit, the press conference there?
Well, I think he's right, and we've seen it a few times in the last couple of years where we play like dog's balls, and we've got Conte or Stellini afterwards saying, "Oh, it was a good performance," or we've got to be patient. And, I got a bit fed up with hearing that time after time. It was just bland nothing. So when he comes out and says this, I get what Phil's saying. But, I mean, really, like if these players are split in the dressing room and all that, I mean, that's the problem we've had for decades. That players have got too much control and too much power and too much say, and they've got the board's ear, and I'm fed up with it. I mean, I don't think this is, it's not ideal for him to talk in public, but I mean, how else are things going to change at Tottenham? They haven't changed. Maybe this won't change anything, but at least it's something different.
It could
Yeah,
be.
look,
It could work out, and it could work again. It might work for us. You never know. Players are funny animals. A few of them might realize, hang on, maybe this guy's speaking the truth, and maybe we better knuckle down and get it. But I think we've had enough dressing room intervention with Levy in the past. Look at Ben Davis getting rid of Nuno. And the players do have the ball deal here, you know. And
go on, Philip. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, but he's given them ammunition to further distance the squad from the manager, you know. And the fact that he really didn't take any responsibility for anything himself, that didn't go down. It won't go down well with him either, because he sets up the team going out there. He gives them the tactics. He tells them what to do. He's the one that should have made the change when we got to 3-1 up, you know. So you can't blame the players for that. But I just feel that parting of the ways is inevitable now. If not now, in the summer, he's definitely not going to be with us next season. That is cast iron. And my worry now is Harry Kane will all say, "Fuck this, I'm off."
Well, good.
You know,
good. Look, you can blame the players. They're the same players that threw Poch under a bus. They're the same players in that team that threw Jose under a bus. They're the same players that threw Nuno under a bus, and the same players a time against Sheffield United, against Middlesbrough last year, that is throwing Conte under the bus.
Yeah.
Them players, Philip, I have no problem with what Conte. Maybe he did say that in the dressing room to them, but is this the only way to get it through their thick skulls?
Well, Daniel Levy should have seen the problem during the last couple of transfer windows and made ready the funds to solve those problems. But Daniel Levy hasn't made the money available. And now it's come to this because there's a head. So everybody is to blame. Everybody, if you want to blame everybody, everyone in the club from top to bottom is partially to blame for all this.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
Conte was trying to absolve himself from the blame, and he's not blameless.
Everyone has to take responsibility. The players do, the owners do, the director of football does, the players, the manager does.
Everybody.
Hang on, Philip. Please let me have my say. Everyone when the players cross that white line, I know you said to me earlier that manager picks the team, he sets the tactics. But it's not Conte's fault when Dyer makes a complete hash of it in the defensive area. It's not Conte's fault. You saw it yesterday between Kane and Son. Kane had that shot, and I found it on Twitter, and it zoomed in on Sonny. And Sonny's throwing his arms around like he's throwing the hissy fit on the pitch.
Yeah,
I mean that's this is why I agree with everything he said, and maybe this is the only way he was to get it out there for them to realize. Look, I'm serious here. There is no. I understand you say stuff in the dressing room, and it should be there. I think some of these players will take it as a positive. I think Harry Kane will. I think Sonny will. I think Højbjerg will. I think Romero will. He already come out with a comment after the game saying we will try harder and we will do this, we will do that. So they've come out. I think they've taken it the right way. But the likes of Dyer and Davis and all them numpties, they won't take. They'll take it to heart. They'll go to Mr. Levy. I want another manager.
Point there. Okay, that's fine. But if Conte is a world-class manager, right? Surely one of his roles in a club is to make average players better. Good players, great players. Has he done that in Tottenham? No.
No, but isn't that down to his coaching staff as well, not just Conte?
He's the manager. The buck stops with him.
He's done it for periods, though. Like he's got, like at the end of last season, he got our defence playing kind of okay, but at the end of it, they just haven't got the quality to sustain that long term. They just take their foot off the gas and screw up again. You know, you had Eric Dyer yesterday blaming the forwards for the loss, saying, "Oh, Southampton lost both their centre backs. We should have created more chances." Like, well, how many goals do we have to bloody score every game because you lot let them in all the time?
So when does this, Philip? Let me ask you this question then: when does this blaming manager culture stop? When do? I'm not saying you, but there's some people that just blame Conte. It's his fault. The players can do no wrong. Or there's people that blame the players and the managers can do wrong. Do you have to have a balanced way of thinking about this, like a broad that Conte and his coaching staff take, say, some blame. The players take a good portion of blame because they're the ones that are crossing the white line. The owners take the blame because they didn't supply the money to Paratici to get the players Conte wants. Who should take the bigger blame for all this? Who takes the ultimate responsibility for all of this?
Joe Lewis and Daniel Levy.
Now, I wasn't trying to trick you into that, by the way. I wasn't trying to.
No, they do. They take the ultimate responsibility because if they'd have put the proper resources into the playing side of the club, we wouldn't be having this conversation now. We really wouldn't. No. So the buck stops with those two. There's nobody to blame us, right down to the girl that makes the tea in the dressing room. There's blame attached to everybody at the club, right? And I think my biggest point with Conte's blame press conference, apart from saying what he should have said in private, is that he did not accept any responsibility for himself. Well, if he'd have come out and said, right, I got it wrong tactically, I got it wrong, I should have played someone here and someone there. Great, hallelujah. Someone has finally taken ownership of the problem. But now all we've got now is Eric Dyer blaming the forwards. Probably the forwards blaming Eric Dyer. What does that make for a together dressing room and team spirit? It absolutely blows it out of the water. And that's why I'm so fearful for the next 10 games. I think for us to make any goal this season at all, there has to be a change. There has to be a change now. If there's not, forget about top 4, forget about top 7 or 8. That's the way it's going to go.
Yeah, and well, look, we're going to the second part of this press conference, and we've got a few chats here. I want to bring it in. We've got Wayne Bonner. Gotta love being a Spurs fan. Oh God, they're coming in with these Queen songs now. Those were the days of our lives. That's a good one. We've got Mia. Here's the Queen song for Ian. You can leave it. You don't fool me. That's a good one. What else we got here? I found a few come up actually. It's quite funny. Where is it now? Oh yeah, Carl Simpson's. When you're a Spurs supporter, you're always waiting for the hammer to fall.
That's true.
That is very true.
We're usually waiting for the hammers to fall. This time it's the hammer to fall.
There's loads. Please get them in. Look, for me, I'm just telling Tottenham just to wake me up before you go. There's another one from Wham. Oh dear, never mind. That went down like a lead balloon.
Just thinking there, there's one Queen song that will never ever be a Tottenham anniversary or a Tottenham anthem while the present regime in charge. We are the champions.
Or we will rock you.
Oh dear.
Oh, you have to laugh being a Spurs fan. You really do. If you don't, you
cry. Some of these Queen songs could have been written for Tottenham. There's another one here called "The Show Must Go On." Don't Stop Me Now. Killer Queen. Under Pressure is another one.
That's Conte's song tonight. Right. Conte, second bit of conference, right? He said, if I have to compare last season to this season, we have to improve. But now we are worse in this aspect. When you're not a team, anything can happen at any moment. Today is the last situation. Don't forget that in the FA Cup, we lost to Sheffield United, who played with young players. We were able, with a strong team, to be dropped from the FA Cup. Then a lot of situations, I repeat, that we are not going to improve. I am not speaking about tactical aspects or technical aspects here. Sort of diverting the blame from myself there. I would agree with you on that, Philip, about being a team. Being the team. He keeps repeating himself.
There's one thing I take from that. We didn't play Harry Kane against Sheffield United, right?
No.
Brought them on after 75 minutes or whatever. Erling Haaland played against Burnley yesterday and scored a hat-trick. Need I say more?
Mr. E, who wants to live forever? We've got DG Samuel Indorendo. These are brilliant. I'm waiting for the Invisible Man. That's the next one. We've got Carl Simpson here. We are the outage.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Look, we've got Swimson. I heard Conte didn't express his feelings to the players in the dressing room after. Didn't even go in. Now have go off an international duty. He should have had a general go at the players, right? Yeah, he should have done.
Yes, that's a good point. Actually, yeah.
That's
another reason the players have a grudge against him, because he went off behind their back and complained to the press. You know.
Okay, we've got a super chat here from Mia. Big up, Mia. Thank you so much for the €2 super chat. She says, SPURS has me going slightly mad.
Oh,
yeah. And we also got big up Mick Harmlock as well. Big up Mick. Mate. Thank you for coming in. Right, so he says about being a team. He repeated himself quite a lot in this press conference, actually, to be fair. I've never seen him this angry. I've never seen him so pissed off in my life. It was unreal. It is the most important thing to understand that we've played for the badge. That we play for the badge. We have to play to make our fans proud of us. We have to pay to show desire. That the fire in your eyes to win. If you have this, for sure, you don't go out in the FA Cup today. You win. We have to play to make our fans proud of us. We have to play to show desire. The fire in your eyes to win. If you have this, for sure, I'm reading the same thing again. Sorry. Maybe previously in other games something can change, but here we're used to it for a long time. The club has the responsibility for the transfer market. Every coach that stayed here has the responsibility. The players. Where are the players? In my experience, I can tell you that if you want to be competitive, if you want to fight, you have to improve this aspect. In this aspect, I can tell you in this moment, it's really, really low. I see only 11 players that play for themselves.
That's savage.
Paul,
Savage.
I'm going to start with you, then I'm going to come to you, Philip, then I'll have my say in it. Actually, no, I'll start with you, Philip, then I'll go to you, Paul, and then I'll go to myself. Philip, what do you reckon to that bit?
Okay, the first bit of it is probably talking about teamwork, and you have to play for the badge. And then at the end of the day, he says the players aren't playing for the badge; they're playing for themselves. Which I look at games this season. He could he come out after the Chelsea match and said they were selfish players? No. The West Ham game, no. Maybe the AC Milan ones, yes. But what is the problem? Why are we so hot and cold? Why some games do we play well, and the very next game we come out and we're absolutely like a dog's dinner? This thing about I think he was trying to get at there. He's having a dig at Daniel Levy there, where he says we're used to it for a long time. The club has responsibility for the transfer market. Every coach that stayed here has responsibility, and the players. Where are the players? In my experience, I can tell you, if you wanted to be competitive, you want to fight, you have to improve the players, basically. And this is he's more or less saying there, give me the goods and I'll build the team. That's basically what he's trying to say there to Daniel Levy. Give me what you promised me when I came here, and I'll do the job for you. You haven't done it. I'm so frustrated now. I'm venting my spleen in public, probably risking my job for doing it. And you've got to admire him. He's taking a huge risk in doing this. Whether it's going to pay off or not, I think it won't. I think he's lost the dressing room because of it. And Daniel Levy's not going to open up the purse strings anymore. He can't until July anyway. So I think that is a real dig at the players, that the players are not good enough. They're playing for themselves. And also, I think maybe later on he mentioned about the amount of money they're on. They're on huge money in this and the other, which is really not for a press conference. I don't think we all know that players are overpaid. That doesn't have to be stated, But he's really having to dig at the players there. The players are not good enough.
No, fair enough, Philip. Fair enough. Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything he's saying here. And if I think of the performances this year, there's maybe a couple of games and a couple of halves where we've been all right, where we've been good. But a lot of the time we have been abject, strolling around, And my problem with Conte has been defensive football, 5 at the back, all that sort of stuff. I just don't like it. But also you can set up to, sit back and absorb pressure and not be so crap as well. Even if you're holding on or playing out a match, you can do it with conviction, and we're doing it with Swiss cheese. It's sitting back to our players seems to be take your foot off the gas, where it shouldn't be that. It should be play deep, but still get the ball and go on the counter. And our players don't do that. And when he's saying that the players are being selfish, I've seen that not just from our defenders. I've seen it from our forwards, all trying to score the push-cast goal, and it's not been for the benefit of the team. It's been for their own personal. Maybe they're trying to find a bit of form or confidence or whatever, but whatever it is, definitely not for the team. And I think he's right about the club being responsible for the transfer market. We have to improve this player situation, whether that's through transfers or coaching. And, I just haven't got a problem at all with what he is saying. I think he's spot on.
Look, for me, the players, again, I would say this again and again, the players have to take some responsibility in this.
Of course they do, yeah.
you cannot keep blaming manager beyond manager beyond manager beyond manager and not have a look at the players. I mean, he is right. Them players don't give a shit. As long as they get their money at the end of the week or the end of the month, they don't care. They should be turning up to Sheffield United and beating Sheffield United. Or because it's a wet, cold, windy, wet night on a Wednesday night. Do you know what, guys? I don't fancy this tonight. No, neither do I. Why? It's a bit wet and windy out there. Do you know, I might get my my new haircut might get ruined, or my tan might come off me.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake.
If we'd have beaten Sheffield United that night, we'd been in the semi-final of the FA Cup today.
I know. The point I'm making is we have to blame these players. And then if Conte has tried everything else, then calling them out in public is the only way to get them. Now, I agree with you say, Philip, he could lose the dressing room. But it could have the opposite effect. Now, it could have, as I said before, Højbjerg, Romero, Harry Kane. I don't know Harry Kane. We'll get into that later. But the players like Dyer, Sanchez, Tantanga, Davis, they will all be running to Lee, ringing them up. Oi, Dan, get rid of this fucking manager. No, we don't want him here. We don't want him here. Do you know, again, they got rid of Nuno, they got rid of Jose, they threw down tools over Poch. They're down 3-1 up against Southampton, who are bottom of the league. We should be cruising that out 3-1 without a shadow of a doubt. And I think Conte, as I say again, I agree with everything Conte said. I think something should be said in the dressing room, which I do agree with you, Philip. It should have been. But I think it's the only way to get through these thick skulls and some of these players. It had to be done this way.
I've done a review, look around at what all the pundits are saying about it, right? Now, I haven't come across one yet that said Conte was right to say it in public. They're all saying he was right to say what he said, but again, it goes back to the thing, you don't do it in public. And that's the biggest problem. If he'd have taken the boys into the dressing room after the game yesterday and given him that speech, I'd be delighted, absolutely delighted. But he didn't. He didn't even go into the dressing room after the game. He ran straight to the press. For me, that is unforgivable. If I've got a problem with somebody, I'll say it to their face. I won't give it to them via a third party. Like if you're sitting on the coach coming home from the match yesterday and Conte's press conference suddenly coming in front of you, what are you thinking? Boss, why didn't you say that to us directly? He's been cowardly in doing it the way he did. You know, and that's why I feel for us to rescue the season, there has to be a change. We all want to refit or reset in Tottenham. Now it's time to start.
Yeah.
I reckon, you know, if he's around for the Everton game, you know, because I always hate this phrase, losing the dressing room, the players are not playing for the manager. You know, you're getting paid enough. You should be proud of what you do. You're a professional. Okay, maybe you're not going to be at 100% and you're not going to have those extra bits of inspiration if you're not getting on with the manager, but you still turn up and put a shift in and try your hardest. And I don't see a lot of our players trying their hardest. And it infuriates me because every game of football I've played in, from the crappiest five-a-side to old men's football, everyone plays, you know, tries to play football. And I see Tottenham so many times when they're off the ball, strolling around, you know, or when someone's got the ball, they're strolling around, not creating any opportunities. There are some exceptions to this, but generally we're so lethargic. And okay, if he's in charge at Everton and we see players not playing for him, then we know exactly the sorts of players we want to get the hell out of this club. Because if they don't turn it on for this manager, they don't turn it on for another manager. And we know that they've done that in the past. That's what they're going to do in the future. I don't want our performance to be solely dependent on the manager. The players have got to take responsibility and put it in. So we'll see. If they don't play in Everton, then get rid of them, rip up their contracts.
You know, I want to go back to last week's match, Nottingham Forest, right? Remember, we were cruising 3-0 up.
Yeah.
Right? Forest got a goal, 3-1. Fraser Foster makes an unbelievable save from Serge Aurier's header. That could have been 3-2. They got a penalty at the end. They could have scored that. So look at what that's the last 10 minutes of the match last season, or last week. Same thing happens this week. Where's the 90 minutes concentration coming from that every team has to have in the Premiership? We could have ended up getting a draw against Forest last week very easy.
Yeah, but you can't blame Conte. You can't blame Conte for that.
No. I'm just saying. I mean, we're off the blame game for a minute. I'm just saying there's something. The players switched off last week, and maybe they were tired after the Milan game. Not that they did feck all in that. And they switched off again yesterday as well. But again, it goes back to that. You can blame the players; they're at fault. But you also must blame the manager and the coaching staff for not drilling it into them. A game lasts 95 minutes, lads. Just because we're winning 3-1 up with 5 minutes to go does not mean you won the game.
Yeah, but some of these players don't care, Philip.
But they should care. They should care. And Paul is right.
They should care.
Their contract should be cancelled. That we cancelled Matt Doherty's. We cancelled Sergio Aurier's contract. We got rid of them. If the likes of Dyer and Davis and Tanganga are still at the club next summer, I'd be very surprised. If they are, cancel their contracts and get rid of them. But unfortunately, there appears to be more talk of Eric Dyer getting a new contract than his old one being torn up. Who's to blame for that?
Yeah, I know. We've got Tequila here. Dermot, it's just for me. He says, Dermot, if you went home to a mansion with a supermodel girlfriend, I do have a supermodel girlfriend, by the way, fiance, by the way, or a boyfriend. No, that is definitely not my thing. I can tell you, Tequila, 100%, I do not float that way. I do get your point, though. You wouldn't care either unless you're a Spurs fan growing up. He makes a fair point. He is true.
Yeah, no, the money is the root of all evil here. There's too much money in the game.
It is. Then we've got. So anyway, look, I'll bring some of the comments up in a minute. Sorry, guys, I am behind bringing them up. Sorry, I do apologize. I prefer to keep with Conte, with him being supported with Conte and Deadwood out. If it goes, I only go for Poch, as he'll know what could happen here now. Getting contracts, obligations drawn in. Yeah, that's so true.
It don't matter though. If we've still got Dyer, Davies, Sanchez, Tanganga, you could have Zinedine Zidane managing them, and you know that at some point those players are not going to play for the manager.
Yeah, that's true. Dave Clark says if these same players put these performances in, our coach was Nuno, then every Spurs fan would be screaming for his head. But it's because it's Conte, he's not getting a free pass.
He's not getting a free pass. He's not by any means. He's getting a lot of free pass. I'd say it's 50-50 at the moment. Probably 50-50. But
and the poll at the moment, will Conte be here for the first game after the international break? 52% say yes and 48% say no.
That's close.
Look, there is 20 in the house. Please hit that like button, hit that subscription button. Pick up a membership. It's only $2.99, $4.99. And also, please get your super chats in if you want to get ahead of the queue. It does help the channel grow, and it does help us get better content for you. So we're entertaining you more, which is what we're here to do. We're here to bring Spurs to you, and that's what we love doing. He was then asked, but what does your future? The uncertainty. And this is when he went on his complete rant. It says, you are finding another alibi. You try to find an excuse for the players. Okay, continue to do this, to find an excuse for the players. You're only this, excuse for the players. But the players may be my future. Then we lost confidence. They lost spirit. They lost being the team. Excuses. Try to protect them every time. Blah, blah, blah. He went. I was half expecting Black Sheep at one point. I'm glad you two got it. Come on. We are professional. The club pays us a lot of money. The players receive money. Me receive money. Paul receives money. No, he doesn't. Not from Tottenham anyway. You understand, not to find excuses or not to show spirit or show the sense of belonging or don't show a sense of responsibility because we are showing this. For me, this is unacceptable because for me, this is the first time in my career to see a situation like this. Until now, I wasn't able to change, not to change, but to compare to last season, the situation went to become worse. Look, I'm going to go start on this first, if that's all right, guys, and then I'll go to you, Paul, and then I go to you, Philip. Look, I think he's right in what he's saying.
Bring it back up there, John. Could you bring it back up there to see what?
Yeah, I think. Look, if you're telling the players the same thing again and again and again and again, and they're not listening, this is probably his only way for them to get it through their thick skulls. Playing for Tottenham Hotspur is an honour. You pull that badge on, you pull the shirt on. Philip's wearing a jacket tonight with the badge on. I've got the Tottenham flag behind me. I've got Højbjerg on the back of my seat. We've all, between the lot of us, between the three of us in here, we've probably supported Tottenham for over 150 years. If we can combine all our Spurs years together supporting Tottenham. We know what the club means to us. But he is right in what he's saying. There's always an alibi. If we lose tomorrow, we lost away to the bunch of farmers. Ben Davies, well, do you know what? It was the atmosphere. It was a bit too much for me. So fucking what? Get out there and do what you're paid to do. Is play professional football. It's not a hard job. Kicking the ball around a football pitch isn't hard. And I agree with everything he said, and I actually agree in this bit. I agree with him doing this in public. I fully agree behind him on this. Because it's the only way them players are going to get it through their thick skull that this is not good enough. We cannot have what we had against Sheffield United. We cut against Forest nearly, as Philip rightly said, nearly ended up in 3-3. Against Southampton yesterday, 3-1 up with draw 3-3. We did the watch along to it, Philip. We were just pissed off. It means more to us than it does them players. And that's something that you go back to the 80s. If Tottenham lost, it meant more to the players as it did to us fans. So I agree with everything he said here. I fully back him for saying this publicly. And I think he's right to say it publicly. I know, Philip, you're probably going to disagree with me, and I think Paul will as well. But...
the only part I disagree with them is going public.
Yeah.
I think it has to be said, but I've been through this before in my business career where people have done things like this, and it's treated in most businesses as breach of contract. And it's a sackable offence. And in my opinion, I'm sure Conte has this written into his contract. He's not to discuss club matters outside the club without permission, and certainly doesn't have permission for that yesterday. So from that point of view, he's on thin ice, from it. But what he said is spot on. I keep saying that. What he said is dead on. But I just cannot agree with the way where he said it and why.
I disagree in that. We agree in one thing, Philip. We agree what he said, but I agree he said it in public.
Yeah, well, I believe it. We can't agree on everything. We can't agree. But my worry is the effect it's going to have on the team.
Yeah. And can I just say another thing? I do agree with you, Mia, about him taking responsibility for his tactics, by the way. He could have done that yesterday. He could have taken some of the blame himself. So I do agree with you, Mia. Yeah, but Paul, look, what do you reckon of this part of the best conference? And we won't go through it all because it just goes on and on and on. The rank goes on and on. Because we've got some questions here which I want to put to you. I mean, very quickly, Paul, before we go to you, why is it happening? Because they're used to it here. Now, this is the bit. I think, is this the bit now he... what did you reckon to the whole conference, Paul?
I think this bit is showing up here, is it? Yeah. I think this is true. This is what we all know about. It's been so bloody frustrating being a Tottenham fan and seeing the wheels fall off in '83, and we've just been gliding, and we've had crap owner after crap owner that just wants to suck every bit of goodwill and good faith out of the club. You had Alan Sugar piping up yesterday saying, "Oh yeah, it's the players, isn't it?" Well, why aren't you pissed off, you Sid James wannabe? You did nothing at this club. Just go. Look, if he didn't, someone else would have. I don't buy it.
I don't think so.
Nah, and I'd say the difference between him and Levy, though, like when we were almost going bankrupt, I thought someone would end up buying us. Levy almost took us into the European Super League, which for me would have killed the club. I couldn't have supported a team that didn't play in any competition apart from some rich boys thing. That would have been it for me.
I agree with you. Absolutely. I agree with
you. Yeah, but what Conte's saying is right. It's 20 years. Why haven't we won anything? What's the common denominator? It is the owner. It's the atmosphere. It's the culture of Tottenham. It's not a football club anymore. It's a business. And, which is fine. Okay, go and run your business. Do all your, hair salons or whatever the bloody hell you're doing. but pay the same attention to what's on the pitch. And all we get on the pitch is what player can Daniel Levy get for $5 million off? That's our recruitment strategy. It doesn't matter if they're a centre forward or a winger or whatever. It's, can I get $5 million off? And I'm fed up with it. And I'm really glad a manager has called this bullshit out.
Yeah, but Paul, he's actually clarified to say he wasn't attacking. Oh, Paul's gone. I didn't take him out, by the way. If you're thinking I didn't, unless somebody probably clip it think I did. I didn't. He keeps dropping out because of his phone. He'll be back. Look, I agree with Paul's point. Where I don't agree, can you just clarify I didn't take you out, Paul? Just in case somebody clips us and think I did, by the way.
No, sorry. So I'm on my phone and sometimes the audio just goes really bad. So I just have to pop out and pop back in again.
Look, I agree on what you're saying, Paul, but surely some of the managers, the players have to take responsibility as well.
They do.
Levy cannot be blamed for everything. Levy cannot be blamed for us losing on penalties to Manchester United. Levy cannot. Hang on, can I just let me get this out and then I'll let you have your response, please. Levy cannot be blamed for the penalty kicks against Man United. Levy cannot be blamed for the refereeing decision in the Champions League final. We've got to semi-finals and finals where it was down to either a bad management decision or players not turning up for that final or semi-final. Levy can be blamed for some of the stuff. I agree with you. But you cannot blame him for the rest of it. The players have to take responsibility. So do the managers. Poch should never have played Harry Kane in the Champions League final. Should have played Moura. Harry Kane wasn't fit. He only played Harry Kane because he was best mates with Harry Kane. Don't worry, Harry, you'll get to start in the Champions League final, where it should have been Moura who got us there. You cannot blame the Levy for us losing to Manchester United in the Champions League in the League Cup final in 2009 on penalty kicks. You can't blame Levy for us losing to Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final when Poch played Son as a left wing back. You cannot blame Levy in the Champions League final for a handball, a penalty against Liverpool that should never have been given in the first place because it hit his armpit. And as far as I know, your hand does not live under your armpit. So you cannot blame him for that. You can blame him for some other stuff. Yes, I agree. But you cannot blame him for everything. And this is where the players and the managers also have to take responsibility. Players didn't turn up. They haven't turned up. Managers have made the wrong decision. And they should take the same responsibility as well. And I that's my view in it. And that's how I feel. I think everyone has a responsibility, but you cannot put everything that goes absolutely wrong day in, day out at Daniel Levy's door because he cannot control everything. Paul, I didn't mean to interrupt you or cut you off when you were trying to speak, so I apologise.
Yeah, look, I don't completely disagree with you. I get it. Yeah, you have the players time and time have let us down, and the odd manager has made a blunder as well. I think what I'm saying is that we all grew up watching a very different Tottenham Hotspur, and that isn't what's there at the moment. And I think even if you're a professional footballer, that's like 30 years younger than me, walking into Tottenham Hotspur as it is today, I think there is something about the club at the moment that isn't inspiring players to play football. The priority, the tone of the club is set from the top. And, I'd prefer, if you're going to have rich people, you're always going to have rich people owning the club. I wish they would just, give us your money. We'll take your money, but get other people to run the football club to take care of it. And what we've got at the moment is someone whose ego, I think, is out of control, who thinks he knows football, Daniel Levy, and he doesn't. And because the tone of the football club, the feeling of the football club is that the manager is not in charge. Because at any time the players can have a whinge to Levy, like Ben Davies, like Eric Dyer, and, Levy will go, oh, yeah, all right, then we'll get another manager, it's not your fault, boys. There is something just not right about the whole of Tottenham Hotspur. But, yeah, you're right. Look, the players, they're the ones on the pitch. They have got to play for the club and play for the badge. But I just think the badge doesn't mean what it meant in the 70s, 60s, 50s, 80s, even some of the 90s. I think that's kind of gone a bit from the club. There's no statue of Bill Nicholson. There's no posters of Danny Blanchflower around the place, you know. So what is there to inspire a young professional to bring out their tip-top performance?
Yeah, I mean, Philip.
Can I just bring this back up again, Dermot?
Yeah,
just to make one comment on it.
Yeah.
You see the bit where Sky Sports earlier said that Conte has explained the situation, that he wasn't criticising the board, he was criticising the players. Well, line 4 and 5 of that top paragraph absolutely blow that out of the water, because what he says is,
wouldn't it, Phil?
The story is this: 20 years there is the owner, and they never won. Well, I presume it meant anything. But why? If that's not a criticism of the board, that I do not know what is. And that's why I think that statement by Sky is typical Sky, a load of bullshit. So.
I mean, look, Philip. Look, I want to bring Mia in as well in this, Mia, as well. Look, Philip. We've been. Look, all of us can remember. Well, I don't know if Mia can, but I can remember the 80s. So can you, Philip. So can you, Paul. And we all remember the great teams of like players like Glenn Hoddle and Paul Miller, and then we had Chrissy Waddle and Gazza and Lineker, and then we had, of course, Ginola. Mia's going to pass out. I think about Ginola in a minute. We had Ginola, and we had Les Ferdinand, and see, she's just passed out. She's just come round. But we had great players, didn't we? We always had players that we were a star. And you said something to me today, Philip, about Danny Blanchflower. Have you got that quote there? What he said?
Yeah, this is what Danny Blanchflower said.
Yeah, Mia, go on. Yeah. Sorry, go on, Mia. Very quickly, go on.
Sorry, I'm just going to say something quick. This is why I came on, because I really wanted to dispute something or ask a question maybe then. Not dispute maybe so much. But if we would have won on those penalties against Man United, would you be sitting there and saying then that Daniel Levy knows nothing about football? If we would have won that Champions League final, would you be sitting there and saying that? See, those small margins, they're the things that we can't always control. And so people are quick to always point the finger at Levy for being inept when it comes to football, but we did get to those points, but it's other things and other factors that didn't get us over the line. So I think we just have to be a little bit more maybe aware of the fact there are other factors, and to call someone so inept and to completely blame one person all of the time and say it is that one person, I just think it doesn't make logical sense in my head anyway. But I don't know what you guys think.
We're blaming everybody here. We're blaming everybody.
Yeah, no, I know. I know you are, Philip.
I can understand what you're saying, Mia. Look, that's actually a good point. If we had one of them things, I'll start with you, Philip, on this, then again to you, Paul. Philip, if we had one of them Champions League, the League Cup, if we got to we could have won 2 FA Cups. We lost to Portsmouth and Sheffield, Chelsea in 2 semi-finals, I think. If we won all them competitions, then Daniel Levy would have been just as successful as the owners before Scholar. So
well, yeah, if you take leave the semi-finals to one side, right? Just take 2009 and 2019. The other 2 finals we got to, right? We lost both of them. If we won in 2009, okay. If we won in 2009, okay, and won in 2019, there's still 10 years between them. If we won in 2000 and lost in 2019, which we did, there's still 13, 14 years between them. So
but we got to
definitely class them as a success if we won one of those trophies.
But we got to the 2015 League Cup final as well.
Yeah, but that's out on penalties as well. It seems a bit of mental toughness needed when it comes to the final countdown in these games.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that maybe we've got to understand that those other factors do come into it when we're trying to put out like why we haven't won in such a long time, because a lot of people do say always come back to it's the ball's ineptitude in football, when actually we have got to those points, but when we did, it's the manager and the players that didn't get us over that line who got us to those points, you know. That's all I'm trying to say.
I think it's a case of we've got a case here in Ireland where a team hasn't won the equivalent of our equivalent of the FA Cup. since 1951.
You be very careful, Mr. Brett. Fuck you.
No. Hold on. I'm a big Mayo supporter. I want them to do it.
Be very careful, Mr. Brady. Be very careful.
They've got to so many finals and they cannot get over the line.
I know, it's so frustrating.
Every time I see Mayo, I think you should be playing in white and blue. Because it's so much like
I tell you one thing. We got to a final a couple of years ago, and I was so convinced we were going to win. I think we were playing Tyrone or something. I think we were playing Tyrone in the final. I was so convinced we were going to win, and it felt so much like
families from Tyrone. You got no chance. We won, man. We won.
It felt like watching Tottenham. It really did. It was the only time I thought, oh, dear. You be careful, Mr. Brady. Now we're doing the Mayo.
Was 3 goals to give away? Was they even scored? Was never happens in GA. So the goalkeeper scored an own goal. Anyway, this thing Danny Blanchflower said, right? This is a quote that Danny Blanchflower made during his time at Tottenham. He says, "The great fallacy is that the game is first and last about winning. It is nothing of the kind. The game is about glory. It is about doing things in style, with a flourish, about going out and beating the other lot, not waiting for them to die of boredom." Now, which end of that comment are we at the moment? I suggest it's the last sentence.
Yeah, I do. I mean, you look at the great quotes from Bill Nick or Danny Blanchflower or Keith, but I wanted to start with this conversation, and it starts with, I've got on the screen, by speaking out yesterday, has Conte given Levy no option but to sack him? But I want to go back to 1983 when Scholar had taken over, and he was so much on the phone to Keith Birkinshaw that Birkinshaw had no option but to resign. And when he left, he said there used to be he actually didn't say this quote. It was a journalist that actually come up with this quote. Keith Birkinshaw never said this quote, and I actually looked into it today. It was actually a journalist who actually put it into it was to big up the article, because the article wasn't really good. So he put in this bit to big up the article. And he said there used to be a football club over there.
Must be working for Sky Sports now, is he?
Yeah, probably. But with Conte and Levy, are we having our Keith Birkinshaw all over again? Do you know what I'm getting at, Philip? Do you know, are we at the same crossroads we were back in 1983-84?
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing about 83-84, Scholar was just after taking over the club and a great vision for other things apart from football, which is remarkably similar to where we're at today. Although the only problem is Scholar, he didn't make any money out of his ventures. At least Daniel Levy is making money out of his. But it probably is. It probably is. Although, let's face it, we were just after winning a trophy in 84. So there was a lot of gloss and an awful lot of glory attached to it. So if anything, the position now is worse than it was in 84 when Keith Birkinshaw left.
Yeah. I mean, Mia, by speaking, that has Conte given Levy the option, say, right, Antonio, look, thanks for everything you've done, mate, but look, here's your P45, sod off back to Italy, we don't need you anymore.
I don't think he's going to, though, because if he's already settled with the board and said, listen, I wasn't talking about you, and they're like, oh, okay, Antonio, no probs. It's a bit like they've kind of patted him on the back and said, oh, good, you didn't slag us off. So I don't think they're going to sack him, if I'm honest, because they seem to be happy with what he said, as long as he said that it wasn't about them. That's kind of how that seems like to me.
Yeah, Paul, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think they'll make it based on a football decision. They'll have a spreadsheet out. They'll think, right, the probability of getting top four under Conte, or the probability of getting top four without Conte. How much money do we gain or lose from Champions League? How much money do we gain or lose by paying Conte out? And when they add all those numbers up, that will dictate whether they keep Conte or not. It'll have nothing to do with football as usual. And, I mean, to say, we got to semi-finals and finals and it was other factors. The fact is we didn't get over the line. So, if we did win everything, then, you could say Levy did a good job, but we didn't. And we haven't done for 20 years. So it is him.
It isn't, though, Paul, because why we didn't go over the line, why we missed those penalties and lost on penalties wasn't Levy, was it? That was the players. And why we didn't win the Champions League, we could say was partly down players and to Poch's decision. So that wasn't Levy, was it? That was the players /managers. So when you look at it like that, then you can't necessarily just say it was Levy because he wasn't on that pitch. He didn't kick those balls, right?
Yeah,
No, but
I get that, but I think we've had times where we've had a good first 11, but nothing else. So, you know, when it comes times where we've got a players injured or whatever, and we've got to rely on these muppets, they never do a good job. And I think that is the board's fault for not buying the right personnel in. The transfer, it's not like they haven't invested money. They have invested money, or they have spent money in the transfer market, rather. But the recruitment has just been so bad for 20
Yeah,
years
no, I agree.
compared to what it used to be. Like, I remember in the 80s, you know, you'd see a few good games of Paul Gascoigne at Newcastle. Next minute, there's rumours that Tottenham are in for him. Next minute, we signed Paul Gascoigne. The same with Chrissy Waddle. You know, we'd go out and get these players, whereas now we're doing, I don't know, the Brian Hill thing, the Dan Juma thing, the Jed Spence thing. It's all terrible.
But the problem is that things have changed slightly now, Paul, with the transfers, etc. But I do get it. Like, don't get me wrong, we haven't got a good plan when it comes to our recruitment, our scouting and stuff. That needs to be massively improved, right? Massively. I completely agree with that. We haven't done good enough in the past. I do get that. So, like, I'm not trying to say everything that isn't back to the board, and I'm not saying that everything doesn't come, some things don't come back to them, but certain things I feel like people are so, like, they don't like the board so much that they will just literally blame everything. So every kick of the ball is down to the board, when I don't truly believe that we got to those semi-finals when we missed penalties. That wasn't down to Levy, because there were players on those pitch got to that point and didn't get over the line, or, do you know, like, stuff like that. I do feel like that isn't all down to Levy. We can't blame all of it completely on Levy.
Well,
like,
I can blame one thing on Levy. Sorry, Mia, I didn't mean to cut
you know,
off.
you can, of course, you can blame things on Levy. I'm not trying to say that you're not allowed to.
You can blame him for sacking Jose 6 days before a cup final.
Listen, I understand that. Yeah, no, of course. Like, I do understand that. But then on the other hand, Dermot, there's a lot of people calling for Jose's head. They wanted him out. So a lot of our fans, I'm not saying you personally, but a lot of fans did want him out.
No, I'm just saying I didn't want him out. I didn't want Poch to go either. But once the decision is made and a new manager comes in, we all back that manager to the end. We all give him, and he did get us to the top of the league. But again, it was the same players complaining. Do you know what? This training's no good. We're not training enough. But you were complaining about the training on the Poch. Now you're complaining the training under Conte. Makes you think. Right, Philip, look, I'll start with you on this, and then I go to you, Mia, and I'll start with Paul on this, then I go to Mia, then you, Philip. Sorry. And I did send you a private message, by the way, Philip, in the chat, in the private thing. There. I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Yeah, I got that, Dermot. No problem. No problem.
Okay. I was joking, by the way. I wasn't being serious. It's just Mayo triggers me.
Very thick skin. Anyway.
Especially now I've got a Tyrone man down below me. That makes it even bloody worse now. Oh, Lord. Paul, Conte's outburst has divided already a divided fan base. What needs to happen to unite the fans? Now you got some. Look, I'm maybe going to take flack for this, but I'm going to say it anyway, and that is my opinion, and it's my choice to say it. It's freedom of speech, so I'm allowed to say what I'm going to say. Philip's looking at me very terrified of what's Dermot going to say now. You got some people saying Conte coming out against the board. Yeah, Conte's on our side. Yep, he's one of us now. He's come over to the left. He's now our side. And then you got him now saying, I've sorted it out with the board. I have now, it's okay with the board. And then you get other fans saying, get Conte out of the club. We as a fan base have never been this divided in years and years and years. Will it take a generation, Paul, to get us back together again as a united fan base?
I don't think there is a problem with a divided fan base if you're kind of all civil with each other and you recognise that we're all wanting the same thing. Like even this morning, like I'm disagreeing with you, I'm disagreeing with Phil, I'm disagreeing with Mia. We're all disagreeing with each other, but we're not ripping each other's heads off. We're not just trying to win an argument in some sort of crappy internet debate. It's all cool, you know? So I think it's just a sign of the times that, you know, social media or whatever, people dig their heels in. People start getting personal. That's when division goes wrong, you know. But all it would take for fans to come together is get some good results on the pitch. You know, that's all we really want, isn't it? You know, and then I find it gets me down. You know, the amount of brain power that I have to think about all the stuff that is outside the football pitch. I just want to enjoy a game of, you know, whistle goes. I just want to sit there with a cup of tea and enjoy a nice game of football. And it's so bloody hard to do at the moment,
it is,
you know?
But everyone is entitled to their opinion, aren't they? At the end of the day.
Sure, it don't matter, does it? Like, you know, if Mia thinks that, you know, it's the players not getting over the line and it's not Levy's fault, well, so what? That's, you know, that's all right, isn't it?
Can I just clarify? I don't mean that in all senses, Paul. I just mean some of the time.
I know, but all I'm saying is that we can disagree, and it doesn't matter because, like, it doesn't matter what I say. It's not going to change anything at the club anyway. I'm just pulling stuff out of my arse.
I bet you that's painful.
Oh,
and Mary, the Irish Star, as I've now called you.
Thanks.
You're an honorary Irish lady, Mary O'Callaghan. From County Tyrone, right? Look, I'd go with Philip with both of you with this question actually. And Philip, you've seen. I don't mean to say this any disrespect, but you've seen a lot of Spurs over the years, and you've seen a lot of different fan bases. How the fan bases have evolved from what we were to what we are now. And I know there wasn't social media back in the day, but especially in the 80s. We were all together for the 84 UEFA Cup final. Me and Paul did a watch long for that UEFA Cup final where the fans were singing "There's Only One Danny Thomas." We go to the 90s. There's a bit of upheaval with Sugar and that, but not as much as it is now. Philip, in all the years you've watched Spurs, have you ever seen the fan base as divided and as broken as it is now? And again, I'll ask you the same question. Will it take a generation for it to get back to how it was?
Listen, the thing about a broken fan base, unless you lived in Tottenham or nearby the Tottenham area in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, up to the last 10 years, you wouldn't have a clue whether the fan base was divided or not. You'd only get a reaction when you went to a match and the crowd started booing certain things, right? You didn't know what was going on. You assumed everything was hunky-dory. Nowadays, social media, every little comma and question mark is questioned on social media. And that's where an awful lot of this division is coming from. It's where all the division is coming from, right? Now, take yourself back to yesterday afternoon, right? If Tottenham had won that game 3-2, right? Say they won the game 3-1. Levy or Conte would not have made that outburst in the press conference. We wouldn't be sitting here discussing all this, right? Now, as Paul said, all it probably takes to unite a fan base is a few decent results. That's all it takes. Because we're all happy. We're all happy. We're unhappy when we lose a game or don't win a game that we should win, and we're all getting on everybody's, giving out it's his fault, it's his fault, it's his fault. If we'd have won yesterday, we'd be sitting here happy days. We're third in the league, happy days. It's just fine margins that make people drift to one side or the other. And social media, while it's great to hear things that news is going on, it can be an absolute bugger when it comes to a team that's not performing the way they should. It's depressing to watch some of the stuff. Now, I've been watching the social media posts today, and I've seen guys that I know are good friends tearing each other's hair out over this. And that's not the way it should be. No. We all support the club. We all have our own opinions on it. But there's some very nasty name-calling going on social media today because somebody doesn't agree with somebody else's point of view. And that should not be the way, And I think... Sorry, go on, Paul.
It's like when I come on streams like this or Irish Hotspur or whatever, all I'm really interested in is expressing my opinion sufficiently well that people get where I'm coming from and listening to other people, listening to what they're saying, so that I get where they're coming from. It's not a battle. It's not I want to overwhelm someone with my opinion, because at the end of the day, I don't know shit, and someone else might know more than me, you know. So it's just listening. People have got to listen a bit more and stop getting het up on, you know, setting little verbal traps for each other or putting words into people's mouths, things like that. Just chill out, say what you want to say, and listen to other people, and then we're all happy.
No, what it is though to me, sorry, because I haven't really said much.
Sorry.
Do you know, Michelle, what it is for me, Paul, is that it gets so toxic because people feel like their opinion is above somebody else's opinion. None of our opinions are above anybody else's opinion. Your opinion is equal to mine, Paul's. So is Dermot's, and so is Philip's. So everybody's opinions are equal. But the problem is people get toxic because they think their opinion is above somebody else's. They feel like they've got a higher knowledge or a higher ability to know stuff than what you have, and that's not how it is. It's just an opinion. It's subjective, so nobody's right when it's subjective, because that's the whole point of what subjective means. It's not objective. So I think people they get so toxic, and it's just nasty. That's why I'm not on Twitter, because it's just toxic and horrible place to be. It really is.
I think, look, everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's freedom of speech. Everyone should have the right to say what they say. But where I draw the line is when there's bullying, where there's name calling, where there's calling people out stuff. That's where I draw the line.
It's ridiculous.
I've had it now. Apparently, I had it here last week. Me and Philip had it on the channel. Now, we didn't say anything, did we, Philip? We kept it in the house. We decided to ignore it, which is probably the right action to take. Now, at the time, I wanted to fight fire with fire. Philip very much calmly, as the more, calmer person than I am. Look, just ignore it. We talked about it, ignore it, and we'll carry on. And which we did do, and it was the right course of action to take. People look for reactions out of other people, and people will sometimes give them that reaction. We all support the one team. We should be able to come onto a content and all get on with one another. And it doesn't matter if you're Levy in or Levy out or Levy in the middle, Conte in, Conte out. We'll all support Tottenham Hotspur at the end of the day. We'll all follow the team through thick and thin, up and downs. But just because I have a different opinion to you doesn't make me any less of a person or any less of a fan. I am not. Nor is Philip, nor is Mia, nor is Paul. We're all Spurs fans at the end of the day. And I found since I come into this community that you have to be very careful of what you say, and you have to be very careful in what you say. That's not life. You should be able to come on and say what you say, how you say, but do it respectively. Like anyone that comes into our chat, always respect the people in the chat. Respect us, respect the people in the chat. You'll have no problems. It's all about respect at the end of the days. Now, I don't give a shit what people say about me. I don't care. I don't give a damn. I don't anymore. Anyone can say it. I don't care. What I do care about is people not showing people I know respect. And that's what gets me. That's my biggest bugbear. And, me and Philip don't agree on everything. We didn't agree on this tonight, but you don't see me and Philip tearing each other's hair out or tearing at each other's throats. Just because he digs at me about Mayo, that's another subject completely. But to me, you don't see me and Mia tearing each other out. You don't see me and Paul. You don't see Mia and Paul tearing each other's throats out. It's because we're all respectful of each other's opinions, and that's what it is at the end of the day. It's about being respectful. And we as a fan base are so divided, so cracked, that it will take a generation for us to get back together because we are so broken. And we should not be broken. We were united in '84 when we picked up that UEFA Cup. We're all sang for Danny Thomas's name. I agree with Tequila. I will say this is Mia would wreck you, Dermo. She would. She is the channel Rottweiler, and she knows. I call her that with respect, and Mia knows that, and I call her that in the background as well. She knows I call her the channel Rottweiler, and I mean it in a lovely way. but we shouldn't be tearing each other apart. And it's got to the point where we do. You can attack person on Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, and we shouldn't have to do that. We should
No.
be able. We should all be able to come on, do what we do, without any fear of being. Well, if I say this, am I going to upset that person? Or if I have that opinion, am I going to accept that side? That opinion. Sorry, Mia, go on.
Do you know what it is, right? People just need to stick to their opinions, stick to what their opinion is on the chat, to like chat with people in the chat. We don't need to be talking about any other channels or anybody else. Just stick to your opinion. Don't insult anybody. It's really simple. It's not that difficult to do. Be respectful, chat about your opinion, and don't need to mention anybody else. Just mention the people that you're talking with. That's as easy as it is. But people don't seem to find it that simple. And no, you said a generation to get us back together. It will never be that way because of social media. Social media has just made everything so much more toxic. Like it's such a toxic thing. It's just terrible.
It is. It's like Shamu. I said to Shamu, I felt he wasn't being respectful to Carl Simpson. WhatsApped him. We sorted it out. And he said, sorry about the other day. This is what I mean. Shamu's been the bigger person. Look, he can come in. Yeah, go on.
I think the whole thing.
Big up
right,
Shamu, by the way.
Yeah, this thing about tearing people apart, take another generation to get it back together again. I think if you look for a reason, the main reason for a lot of the division in the Tottenham situation at the minute can probably be traced back to the ownership, right? So I think if there was a change of ownership, right, it wouldn't unite everybody on the fan base, but it would certainly bring an awful lot of people more closer together until the new ownership cocks up like the previous one did. And then we're going to be square one again. But I think the ownership situation is change of manager is not going to bring us together. That'll be more divisive because some people will want such and such and somebody wants somebody else, and that's going to leave us divided. I think the catalyst of Tottenham getting the fans on the one hymn sheet, mostly on the one hymn sheet, is a change of ownership. And that seems to have quietened down a lot lately. There's none of this Qatari people talking to us or Jim Ratcliffe or any of those guys. So I think we're stuck with what we've got, and we're just going to be divided until such time as we're not.
Yeah, that's true. Look, we're going to move on now from the fan base and Conte and that. Mia, if you need to go, because I know you're on early in the morning, you can do. Just give your channel a plug, and we won't be long. If you need to, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's okay. How much longer are you going to go? And I'll decide.
We'll probably go for another half hour or 50.
Oh, yeah, no, that's
15 minutes left.
Yeah, 15, 15 minutes, sort of like that.
If it's 15 minutes, I'll stay for that 15 minutes. It's not a problem. It's just because I've got to go up early in the morning with the kids.
Right. Is our season now over, or can a new manager bounce still get us top four? Now, what I've got here is our remaining fixtures. Of course, on the 3rd of April, it's Everton. I think we're away to Everton. The poll's still going in the chat. We've got 28 votes. Will Conte be here for the first game after the international break? 54% say yes, and 46% say no. And look, we've got 22 likes. Please, I want to get it to 30. Let's try to get 30 likes for this stream in 15 minutes. Come on, do us proud. Do us proud. And also don't forget to pick up your channel memberships. We're trying to get to I think it's 20 memberships. I think we're 7 or 8 away, so we can do a members only fan show. That's what we're trying to do. And if you can, $2.99 or $4.99, they're very cheap, cheaper than Netflix and Amazon. And as I said before, you get more for your money with us than you would with Amazon and Netflix. Philip Brady is our Jeremy Clarkson. He really is. Runs a farm and everything. That made you laugh.
Get you back for that one.
Yeah, I know you. That's I'm very quick. That's for the Mayo Dick.
Yes.
And I was going to say Jeremy Clarkson. He's in his partner. She's an Irish lady.
Yeah, she's from Dublin. Yeah.
Did you see when he was trying to? Have you ever watched it?
I have. Yeah. I'm watching the second series.
Yeah. Did you see when he was trying to dig the pond and she came down and had to go with him at the end?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The best bit was they bought the tractor for a couple of $100,000. They got it back and found that the fittings for the plough didn't fit it.
It is. I would recommend that. The Farm. It is funny.
Yeah.
Look. These are the games. So look. Also, jump ahead to queue. Do if you want to get a super chat in, it does help. And like Mia tonight with €2, it doesn't have to be massive. It does help us, and it does help us grow. So thank you for everything you are doing for us. Right, guys. Tottenham's remaining fixtures. We're away to Everton after the international break. Then we're home to Brighton. We're home to the Bournemouth game, which is I'm going to. The last game I'm going to this season. Then we're away to Newcastle, home to Man United, away to Liverpool, home to Palace, away to Villa, home to Brentford. And then the last game of the season is we're away to Leeds United. Philip, how many points do you think we're going to get out of this? Can you see us? Go with the first 6, and then when you've done that, we'll...
Right, okay, the top 3, right? There's no reason why we can't get 9 points there, right? Yeah. Everton will be tricky because they're in a bit of a roll at the minute. Mm-hmm. Brighton are tricky as well, as they proved to us in the past. And Bournemouth are leaking goals, so we should do them. The next 3 are the ones that are going to decide it. Newcastle away, United and at home, and Liverpool away. They're the 3 matches that are going to decide whether we get top 3. And if we don't perform in the top 3 games, there's bugger all chance of us performing in the bottom 3. And that's where the new manager bounce could help. I'll be worried about those 3 middle games. The last 3, Crystal Palace at home, or Crystal Palace are in free fall at the moment, so that should be a win. Villa away can be tricky, always. Brentford at home should be okay. And Leeds away, that'll be fine unless Leeds are battling relegation. And then we could have a tricky game. So it's not a bad run. And I say the Newcastle, Liverpool, and United games are the only ones I'd be doubtful about winning. Yeah. We could win the rest. Whether that's enough or not, who knows? Who knows?
Paul, look, as Philip said, the top 3 should be, but Brighton's the one that worries me. Because I saw Brighton play a bit today, and they did play well. I know it's against Grimsby, but they did play well. Is the bottom 3? Is them 3 games at the bottom? Newcastle, Man United, Liverpool, our season in the space of a week. How we end up this season.
I think it could end up being the top 3 matches, like Phil said earlier. Even though we beat Nottingham Forest, who came and offered nothing in that game, we still almost managed to nearly throw that away. You know, we won the game, but we could have bottled it. And I just don't, unless what Conte, his comments of kicked a few players up the backside and it brings something out of them, I can't trust them to have. I mean, Everton, Brighton, Bournemouth, they're not easy games anymore. That's the thing. And, we're at the stage where, but even before the Southampton game, people were saying, it's a bit of a bogey team, or they're fighting for relegation. Well, they're fighting for relegation because they're crap. And we come along, we're even worse. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think top 4 is going to be a stretch because it's not even in our own destiny anymore. So we've got to gain points where other teams are losing points, and it could happen. I mean, who knows? We could win the last 10 games of the year. I don't know, but at the moment, I'm not feeling like we're showing any sign of building up a head of steam over the last 4 or 5 games. It's been really, really average.
And then for the last few bits,
if we got a demotivated team going into those games. Which we could well do. Could do. There. So that's why the next couple of weeks is pretty vital,
So, and then for the last 4 games, then Palace at home, Villa away, Brentford at home, and then Leeds away. Where do you see us going there?
Bloody London derbies. Too many London derbies. Yeah. Palace we should win. I mean, they're. I'd say Palace could actually go down this season the way they're going. Villa away is always a tricky one. We normally do pretty well there, but not all the time. Brentford at home, Ivan Toney could have something to say about that if he's not in jail or suspended. And Leeds United away. I know we beat Villa and Leeds 4-0 away both times last season in the space of a couple of weeks. We need to do the same again because we don't want to go into those last 4 games with no hope of the top 4. Because what will happen there is, fuck it, I'll just turn up and play a bit of it. I won't even try. We won't even get Europe next season, and that would be an absolute disaster for us. We will not be able to sign any decent players if we're not in Europe next season.
Right. What I want to do now very quickly is we're going to go through this game by game. We're going to get Philip, if you can keep the dots down, how many points So let's
Hold
get
on,
a pen.
hold on. Back in a minute.
I mean, very quickly while I'm waiting for Philip to come back there, Paul. Is Conte going to be another one to bite the dust? Can you see him being here next season? After the international break?
I don't know. I don't know, man. Like sometimes I think, yes, he will, and so, sometimes I'd like him to hang around for a few years, because even though I'm not liking the style of football, I don't like defensive football.
Yeah.
He has got fire in his belly, and if we can somehow take a little bit of that fire out of his heart and stick it in our players, I think that would do wonders for the team, rather than getting in someone who doesn't have that same, But realistically, he's probably not going to. I mean, even if he survives to the end of the season, he's probably not going to stick around. I mean, why would you? It sounds like he wants to go. Maybe this is his last-ditch attempt at trying to get some sort of reaction out of the players.
Maybe.
And if it don't work, I think he's gone. And it's a shame, because even though I don't like the style of football, I quite like him as a man. I think he is a good manager, a good coach. Just not a real good fit for Tottenham at times. But like I say, that for me has been balanced out in the last couple of days, because he shows that he cares so much about football. He gets football, It's more than just kicking a ball around. It is, it's the closest we get to bloody warfare without anyone getting hurt. There's a lot in it. There's a lot to play for. So I like that side of him. But, yeah, who knows, man?
Who knows? Listen, please hit that. Look, we're only 5 away from 30. So please, if you want to do it, be like this man. And thanks to Mia for this. She's done this for me. Be like the Viking. Be like my favourite player. Be a bit like Højbjerg and hit that like. There you go. Be like the Viking. Hit that like button. We're only 5 away from 30 likes. Come on, let's get up to 30 likes. Come on. Right, guys. Everton away. I am going for a Tottenham win. Philip?
I'm going for a draw.
Paul?
Yeah, 1-1 draw.
So, okay. So
I'm taking note of these anyway.
Yeah, okay. And then we've got Brighton at home. Do you know what? I think we're going to struggle, but I think we're going to get a win. So we're going to get a 2-1 win here against Brighton.
Yeah, I say we're going to beat Brighton as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I go 2-0 Tottenham on that one.
Okay.
Bournemouth, the game I'm going to be fair, I haven't seen the score and I haven't seen this win yet for the 2 times I've been there. So I'm hoping for one of the either, but knowing my luck, we'll probably lose 1-0. But I'm going to be optimistic. We're going to win 2-0, and I'm going to see Harry Kane score twice in the South Stand. And there you go. I'm going to get my first win at White Hart Lane. So there you go. 2-0 win for me.
Yeah. I'm going to go 3-0. I've been very positive on that one.
Well, I'm going to go 2-0 Bournemouth, because that's the kind of game we stuff up.
Right.
You're going for a lose. Right. Now we're coming to the squeaky bum time. Newcastle away, Sunday. Do you know what? I think we're going to get a draw there. 1-1 for me.
I think we're going to get beat 2-0. So
I think we'll get beat 4-1.
Home to Man United.
Yeah.
United are playing well at the moment, but they could be going towards a UEFA Cup final. They could be going towards an FA Cup final.
They're just after an FA Cup semi-final that weekend, so they might be tired.
What? I'm going for a Tottenham win. I'm going for a win in that one.
Yeah, I'm going for a win there. We owe them feckers something for the time
Yeah,
for.
We do.
Yeah, I'll go 3-0 Tottenham on that one.
Mm-hmm.
We never win at Liverpool. I think we haven't won at Liverpool for a long time. I mean, it took even Bill Nick never won at Liverpool, surprisingly.
We went from 1912 to 1985 without winning at Anfield.
They were in the second division, though.
Anfield.
Yeah. The Titanic lasted longer than we've done.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
I'm going for, do you know what? I'm going for Liverpool. I think we're going to lose there.
Right. I'm going to say again. I think Liverpool will beat us, yeah.
I'll go 2-2 on that one.
Ooh, going for a point. Oh, interesting.
We do actually, we draw quite a few games up there. We don't lose that many.
We do, and and that 74-year hoodoo. A lot of the years we weren't in the same division as Liverpool, so
It's true. Still a long time, though.
it is a long time, yeah.
Palace at home. I think we're going to beat a struggling Crystal Palace side. I think we're going to get. I'm going for a win there.
Yeah, same here, definitely.
Yeah, 5-0 to Tottenham on that one. And here's how little I know about football, right? Because I don't think I said this on any stream or anything, but towards the end of last season, I thought Arteta's going to get sacked and Vieira will take over at Arsenal and he's going to be really good. So there you go.
Oh, well.
Do you know what? Very quickly on that, I actually feel quite sorry for Vieira, actually, at that. But I thought he was doing all right at Palace, to be fair.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. Then.
13 matches without a win, though. All the time.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's true. Villa away, I'm going for a Tottenham win. So I'm going for a win there.
I'm going for a draw.
Paul?
No, I'm going 2-0 Villa.
Oh, you're a very downbeat Spurs fan. Ooh.
Well, they're all up and down, man. I mean, so we'll win 5-0 one week and then we'll be rubbish. And I don't know, it's too hard at the moment.
You're up and down like a baggy drawers. Sorry, Paul. Tottenham against Brentford.
Draws on a fat bottom girl.
Brentford.
Very Queen, very good. I like that. That's the first one. That's very good, Paul. Well done. I'm going for. Do you know what? I'm going for Spurs win against Brentford.
Yeah, I think I will too. I think Brentford would be playing for nothing at that stage.
Yeah.
I'll go 1-1 on that one.
Okay. And then Leeds away. Leeds could be fighting relegation. We could need a point. I'm going for a 1-1. I'm going for a draw against.
Yeah, I'm going for a draw there as well.
I'll go 3-0 Tottenham.
Okay.
Right then. How many points have I got now for the remaining?
Okay, Conte, Dermot, you've gone for 23 points, which means we'll end up with 72 points.
Yeah. One better than last year.
15.
Not good enough.
I've gone for 18 points, which means we'll end up with 67 points.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul's gone for 15 points. We'll end up with 64 points.
Swim Master, he went through this last night. He's got us at 69, 70 points.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm 67. You're 72. We're kind of in the middle. Be 69, 70.
Yeah. So we're qualified for top 4 of my predictions.
We won't.
No, and then Paul's then we're just we'll just head down.
We make it in the Conference League and Paul's.
Yeah, Paul's picks with Modric said down to the pub for a piss up after the game.
And you know what? I wouldn't mind missing a season in Europe.
Do you know what? I've actually said that as well, Paul. I get the idea it doesn't attract players, but I mean, do we really attract good players anyway? And maybe it would give us a season to just focus on getting the basics right. Let's get away from the shiny thing of Europe where we don't even compete. We scrape through to the last 16 and then stuffed it up. There's no point in being in it if you ain't got a chance of winning it or going deep into it. Maybe just take a year off, focus, experiment, try a few young players. Maybe don't even focus too much on the league position next year. Just get it right for the year after.
Yeah, I think if you get into a routine of not getting it right in the league, it's very easy to keep into that routine.
Yeah.
Europe, I think Europe is key to getting players, and so I'd be very disappointed if we don't make at least one of the European competitions. But it could well happen. It could well happen.
We're only 4 off 30. Come on, let's get there. Come on, very quickly. If Conte does go, guys, we brought this up before, Philip. We've picked a few managers. Look, I've been thinking hard about this, and I was always Tommy Frank, but now I want the Celtic manager to come in if Conte goes. That's my pick. Who would your pick be, Philip, for new manager if Conte goes?
Well, I mean, if it's not going to be Poch, I think he's probably still the favourite. And the one that's available, getting a guy out of Celtic will be tricky because he's on a contract and whatever. And while I agree, he's one for the future. Let's face it, I could manage a team in Scotland to win the league if it was Celtic or Rangers because they're the only two that ever win it. So I have a sneaking feeling I'd like to see Luis Enrique coming in. It'd be total off the grid appointment. a good attacking Spanish manager who might just, not be put off or know anything about he'll come in clean with no connection with English football, because we've had enough Chelsea managers. You think about it. So maybe Luis Enrique, but what do I know?
Very quickly, before I go to you, Paul, Finn Rickwood here. Haven't seen you before, Phil. Big up for coming in. He says, this club needs a whole reset. Right, here it goes. Clear my throat. Hashtag Enoch out. Hashtag Levy out. Hashtag Conte out. Hashtag Parashiti out. Hashtag Steeny out. Hashtag Skolden out. Hashtag Mason out. Hashtag Deadwood out. Hashtag build around Kane if he stays with good players. I'll tell you one thing. That's the longest hashtag. That is a good one.
We all agree it needs
I like that
we
one.
absolutely all agree it needs a reset.
I like that one. Paul, I think you're on the same line with me for the new manager, aren't you? But if it wasn't him, out of this lot, who would you pick?
Well, Tuchel's a bit of a knob.
Sorry, Paul, I just wonder very quickly. Yeah, I brought him up for you, David. I know you love him. I know you think he's a great manager. So I had when I was putting this together, I thought, how can I show David my affection? I thought I'd bring him up. I know how much you hate him, but it was just I knew I'd get a reaction.
You might as well put Mikel Arteta on that list.
Yeah,
go on then, Paul. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
Well, I do have to bang a little bit on the Ange Postecoglou drum, because I've been following his career since he was, Australian youth manager. Then he managed, South Melbourne and Brisbane, and like our league over here is crap, But they call Brisbane Rawsalona because they're the Brisbane Raw. He got them playing so well. I think they were unbeaten in 32 games. He plays a great style of football. He did a fantastic job when he was Australian coach. He did a fantastic job when he went to Japan, and he's done a brilliant job at Celtic. And I watch a fair bit of Celtic because I've been following Ange just as I watched Yokohama, and they play such a great style of football. He's absolutely on the same page as the fans, and I think a guy like that. The only reservation is I think that with the current ownership, he'd be yet another manager that we just churn up and spit out. But for me, Ange Postecoglou, I get it. Yeah, he's managing in Scotland, but I think people, I'm a big fan of the Scottish League and the football. I think it's very competitive. It's more rootsy football up there. There's more passion up there, and I think to win up there is an incredible achievement. He's on course for a treble. Celtic in the Champions League this year, they didn't win any games, but boy, they bloody well went out and played some football. Talking about fine margins, they really took it to the likes of Real Madrid. They weren't scared. They weren't sitting on the back foot. They weren't waiting for the other team to come at them. They went out and played their style of football, and that's what I want to see back at Tottenham. I want to see us playing Tottenham football, and I think he is definitely the guys to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you, Paul. I think he could be one for the future for us. It's just when you've got a guy that's in the contract and he's about to win the league and stuff with Celtic, would he want to leave at this stage to come to a shit show like Tottenham? That's the problem.
I doubt it. Look, we're big Celtic fans on here, Philip, and we are going to do a watch along to the Rangers Celtic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We love Celtic. We're both big Celtic.
We're big Celtic fans here. Come on, yes, and I love how they're playing. Just very go through the comments very quickly. Tequila's 316. I'm very proud to be here. Well, thank you very much. That actually means a lot to us all. It really does. Thank you, Tequila. It's very kind of you. Actually, very humbled by that. Finn Rickwood, big up Dermot, Phil, and Paul. Big up Finn. Glad to see you and hope to see you in again before. And look, it doesn't matter if you Levy out, Conte out, or you're the pussycat outside Downing Street out. You will be respected and you will be treated with respect on this channel. Carl Simpson says, I would take I have to read it out now. I would take Arteta. He said, let him work. Let him work. It will come good. Got to give him. You got to give it to him. He has to back that. He has to back that up. Joking that I want him, obviously. I don't know, Carl. Maybe you're a secret. I know you are, man. I know you are. David Clark was in a podcast today of ex-players giving their personal stories about Rodgers. One of the players went to him and said, "Boss, we keep losing. Will you give me a chance?" Rodgers just lifted his shirt.
We'll get that.
I don't get that. Maybe, well, I don't know. I'm glad we didn't get Potter. So am I. He's struggling with the big club. He's also struggling with his one with Hermione as well, apparently. And
I saw a very good one with him today, which is Potter had a great month. Chelsea started the league in 10th position. He had a great month, and where are they now? Still 10th.
Yeah. Carl Simpson, Potter, and Enrique.
Enrique.
I have to get my teeth around that one. For me, David Clark, and he showed the player his belt and said to him, "Look, Gucci.
Oh yeah. Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Brendan Rodgers is an arrogant fool. Well, look, we'll try to keep it clean here. We don't want Brendan Rodgers suing us. Good evening. Does it matter who we get? Same play. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Absolutely exactly. Well, that's the end of this show, Philip. It's been a blast. It really has been a blast. I've really enjoyed it. We are going to go now. Look,
there's Paul.
Paul's just passed out. He's just had enough. Is Conte another one who's going to bite the dust? Look, who knows?
We shall see. Time will tell.
If it breaks over the international break, me and Philip and Ellie will be here with Mia. We're bringing the latest news. Me and Philip are going to internationals to see Ireland play Latvia and France. Now, the France game we won't do, but definitely the France game we are going to do we're going to do a match blog for that, me and Philip, and then we will see. But I want to end it on this. Look, we've got 27 likes. Let's get the 30 after I've finished this quote. Oh, the poll. I keep forgetting the polls. I'm mad. Will Conte be here for the first game after the international break? 53% say yes, he will. 46% will said no.
And the 1% Conte himself.
Yeah,
you know, just on the manager thing, more than changing manager or whoever the manager is, all I want to see this summer is some new centre backs. Like without that, if it's another year of bloody Dyer, Davies, and Sanchez and Tanganga, it doesn't matter who's in charge. It's going to be the same crap. So, you know, that's the main thing. Get two good centre backs, or one if you're playing with a back four, and I'll be happy. I'd actually enjoy watching Tottenham, I think, if we had a decent defence.
And then I want to finish off with this with a little quote from the man himself. I just need, because it's actually won't fit it all under one banner, which is a piece of the thing anyway. From the great Bill Nick, he says, any player coming to Spurs, whether he's a big signer or just a ground staff boy, must be dedicated to the game and to the club. He must be prepared to work at his game. He must never be satisfied with his last performance. He must hate losing. Well, look, I think Tottenham Hotspur have gone a long way from the Bill Nick way. We will be doing a show this week or next week. I want my Tottenham back, where we're going to look. We're going into this wherever he lost. Philip needs to go. I need to shoot off. Paul, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a
no worries. I'll just give you another Bill Nick one. He said we've got to remember, without fans, there's no professional football. So it's better to play the football they want to see and have a lot of fans, rather than play the football we want to play and have no fans.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you all for watching. God bless you. We will be back tomorrow with Newsbeat. I think Ellie and Philip are on tomorrow. And then I may be popping around somewhere. But if the news breaks with Conte, if Conte does go between now and then, we will be here live. Come on. Let's get behind the team. Let's get behind the boys. Let's finish the season strongly. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
In some manager we trust.